Hello YouTube, it has been since November I think, since I made my last video. That was when I was out in Grand Rapids for a conference for work. So I had the day off today and I decided I would make a video. I've been pretty busy with work and with some schooling on my own, and so I haven't really been making very many videos, and I'm kind of lazy at times I guess and get distracted and been watching tons of videos instead of making any. But I decided that today it is a good day to vlog. So I'm going to have a little bit of my tea, and then we're going to try a couple of things out I think that you guys might enjoy, so stay tuned. Check out my high-tech, super fancy tripod. Only the best on my channel. See, we got this little attachment thing here for my phone. Just kind of straighten it out. We can telescope up and down, whatever you want to call it, no pun intended. At any rate, let's get started. Okay, since we haven't done a cooking video in a long time, I figured today we would do a little bit of canning. As you can see, I have got a ton of cucumbers. These ones are called the English cut, or sometimes I think they call them hothouse or greenhouse cucumbers. We were gifted a ton of these. As you can see, we've got like a whole box here. There's only 3 of us here. There is no way we will be able to eat these fast enough, and I don't want them to go to waste, so I figure we will make it a canning day. I mean, after all, the weather is horrible out. We are under a winter weather advisory or storm, or I don't know, something like that. Anyway, we had like 8 or 10 inches of snow this week already. By the time it's done, probably about a foot of fallen just this week. So I'm not really wanting to get out much because the roads are poop. So if you never canned before, these are the things you're going to need. Got my mason jars. These are wide mouth, makes it easier to get the pickles and things into it. I've already pre-scalded these so they are ready to go. Got our lids. We will scald those shortly before we go to actually put everything in the canner. We're making dill pickles, so I've got some white distilled vinegar we're going to use. I went with some pickling salt. You can use kosher salt. I mean, that's what everybody used to use pretty much. Difference is a kosher salt, it dissolves a little slower because it's larger. Pickling salt is just pure salt, and it's milled really fine so that it will dissolve quick. You can use table salt. It is not recommended. Table salt has all kinds of, well, not all kinds, but it has additives to it to keep it from caking, and those additives can make your brine all like murky, and it just doesn't look so appetizing. Also, I read that iodine inside the salt actually will make your pickles darken. So we're going to use pickling and canning salt, garlic. So I got dried dill. We're going to use that. I've used it before. Works out okay. Because this is Flint, and Flint, Michigan has disgusting water, we also have to provide fresh water that we can use to can with. I went with distilled water. And of course you will need cucumbers. These are English cucumbers. I've never pickled with those before. Normally I use just regular like pickling cucumbers. There's some that I've grown in the past were called pickle bush. That's been quite a while since I had those. But we're going to give these a try because we got them, and why not? Of course you will need a canner. And I've already cleaned that out and sanitized it. Inside got the insert, and in the bottom there we've got this little contraption that you pull your jars out when you're done. Okay, so we got a lot of cucumbers to chop up because those things aren't fitting in their hole. So we're doing like dill pickle chips or hamburger chips or whatever you want to call them. So we gotta get those cut up. We will make that process fast for you guys so you don't get bored, and then we will get to the actual canning part. So now we're going to get a couple of things done at once. We've got our hot water bath heating up here for the cans. In this pan here we have 8 1/4 cups of water. To that we are going to add our salt, which is a 1/2 cup of salt. And we also need to add our 2 1/4 cups of, this is white distilled vinegar, so we're going to add that. And we will get this heating up and get all that salt and everything dissolved so we can pour it over our cucumbers. But at the same time here, we are going to heat up the kettle because we also need to pour this over top of our lids and rings to get those sanitized and prepped for the top of our can. So we'll get that going and we'll be right back. It's important to realize that this isn't a super in-depth video tutorial on how to can. I'm just kind of making a quick vlog video of it. There's tons of awesome YouTube channels out there that actually show the complete process if you wanted to know a little bit more in depth on the whole thing. There's also, I think Ball has something called the Ball Blue Ribbon Cookbook. Covers all kinds of canning and preserving recipes if you're interested in things like that. I will look up the name for sure and I will put it down in the description below. Alright, so go ahead and pour your scalding water over top of your lids and rings. Make sure they're good and scalded. So you can give them a little bit of a tap if you need to. Kind of help release any of that air that's trapped. Let's go ahead and put on our lids and rings and we will get these in the water bath. Make sure your lids are not even. Alright, we got those ready, so we'll go ahead and dump them into the canner. Alright, so we got those in. Set the timer for about 10 to 15 minutes. Alright guys, as I said, I am no expert on canning. Done it a few times in the past. I figured it's a good way to use up a bunch of cucumbers so they don't go bad. I did look up the name of that book that I was talking about. It's called Ball Blue Book Guide to Preserving. And I read that in the past. It's actually a pretty good book. You can normally find it at a library. If not, you can definitely get it on Amazon. They might even have it on Kindle now, I'm not sure. These got about 12 more minutes to go. I am going to make myself a cup of tea. We'll let that finish off, and then I'm going to go pick up my nephew. So now we will get to show you guys how to use this really cool little tool thing here. I'm sure it has a name, but I don't know what it is. So, just you want to be careful. These are probably going to be a little hot. You might need some pot holders, but you just take these and you pull it up. And the cool thing is, it will rest on the edge of your canner like that. So now you can take this, you just lower it down over a jar, carefully raise it up, and you can bring it over here and set it on a towel. So we'll do that with the rest of them. Next, I try to make sure I tighten down those rings on the lids. You don't want to go too crazy because the seal's on there. And finally, you just take a towel, cover up the tops here, and let them set. Alright, so if you guys are like me and you have come to the end of your canning excursion, you will find that you definitely have a gigantic mess to clean up. I mean, everything is pretty well a disaster now, so happy cooking and happy cleaning. This here is my car. It's an 09 Dodge Caliber. I love it, but it drives like crap in the snow. So let's go for a drive. Alright guys, so I am going out for a drive. I'm gonna go pick my nephew up. It is snowing, as you saw in the earlier clips, and I was kind of thinking to myself that it's kind of stupid that I live in Michigan and this is my scraper. I mean, you would think after living my whole life in this state and realizing that it snows like, you know, every other Tuesday, every other day, that it would probably be more convenient to have a big scraper, but I'm that cheap, so. Here goes nothing, and away we go. I'm gonna stick you guys on my tripod, and, well, I don't know, it's a tripod, harness, whatever you wanna call it. I'm gonna stick you on there so I can drive. We'll talk to you later. So you guys probably noticed in that last clip how my trip to get my nephew turned out. I actually did end up getting stuck in his neighborhood. We ended up hanging out at his house for about 6 hours so I could get a tow truck there to get me out. I'm finally back home, got my car in the driveway. I'm going to go ahead and end off this video here. I was going to do a few other things, but I think I'll save those for the next time. Hope you guys enjoyed this brief video, and we'll see you in the next one.